in 2021. Coca did well. We did a 10x there, but we did 10x when we started AGS, which stands for Automated Grading System. I've been collecting for a very, very long time. Ever since I was a kid, I was collecting Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and sports cards. During the pandemic, the hobby became crazy. Anybody with the design of evolving cards somehow got involved or saw what's going on in the news, and people trading these Pokemon cards for way more than they could ever imagine. And not that all these influencers starting to push all these cards and stuff. Even though I was collecting cards as a little kid, I never actually graded my cards. And that's where you give a card a grade from 1 through 10, depending on the condition of the card. And also authenticates the card, making sure that it's real. This is what really drives the price of the card, the condition of the card. 10 obviously being the highest score you could possibly get on the card, 1 being the lowest. The difference between a 9 and 10 could be thousands or even millions of dollars, depending on some cards. Grading is extremely important. It takes into account the centering of the card, the corners, the edges, the surface, if there's any print lines, any creases. During this whole time was done by humans. The biggest companies, which at the time were PSA, BGS, they had humans like this, maybe a magnifying glass, and just evaluating the card based on guidelines saying, okay, this is criteria of a 9 or an 8. And it is for millions of cards. And I just kind of found this very, very silly, because a human can have a good day, a bad day, and that might affect the score of the card. Humans make a lot of mistakes. Why aren't computers grading these cards? And so science is. But at this time, not only were humans grading the cards, these grading companies turned into black holes. So for example, my cards that I sent early 2021, late 2020, had to be there for over a year and a half. Think about it. A year and a half to get your cards back graded. They're extremely expensive. There's a certain time where PSA and BGS, they completely stopped accepting lower end submissions. The minimum cost for you to grade a card was like $200. I had thousands of cards stuck at PSA, thousands of cards stuck at BGS. Myself, Michael, my CTO, as really passionate collectors, were like, we could do this better. We knew what this industry needed. We knew we'd create a standard of grading using AI, and we built it out. Just that simple. Pretty much had the idea of March 2021. By May, we were already demoing our very first rendition of not just our AI software, but also the machine we built with a laser. It scans the card and gives millions of data points, so you have the full picture for your AI to annotate it and give it a grade. Literally, what, 3 months? We had the very first MVP version of our product, and then later on we launched in August. Now AGS is, I think, the 4th biggest grading company for TCG. For sports, we're definitely way behind, but that's something that we're getting into now. I mean, that's what's going to take us many, many years to get to that point where we have the same resale value, the same brand recognition, same trust and credibility as PSA, which goes back over 30 years. We talked to PSA and the CEO and C-suite people at PSA. We showed them the demo of it. They were blown away. They said that we are actually the first company that they saw ever use real artificial intelligence to grade cards. I'm hoping that AGS becomes what Uber did to these taxi companies, and I think that AGS will be that standard that Uber is for transportation. We are also going to be expanding this year in Singapore, so that's going to be our international headquarters. We partnered with Bukalapak, which is pretty much the Amazon of Indonesia. We can speak about how huge a market Asia is. The funny part is none of these grading companies are there. They reach out to us, seeing that what we're doing in this space and see how scalable our technology is. For the last 6 months, we've been talking, going back and forth, and now we're finally going to be creating AGS International, which is a 50-50 partnership between AGS USA, so to say, and Bukalapak. So we're going to be responsible for obviously bringing over the fuller tech, all operations, scaling everything the way we've been doing here in the United States, and they're going to be charged with marketing, engineering, and helping us go IPO there in the Asian market. And there's a lot of competition here in the United States, but it's not there overseas. So sometime this year, probably Q3, we're going to have our office in Singapore for AGS. End of this year, we should open up a store in Miami, which is also going to be another BGS location, where I believe will be the #1 card shop in the world. And that's kind of how we're building it out to be that #1 card shop in the world. It's going to be called Collectors Club. Not just that, we also have a bar there. We have an event space, AGS lab in there. So it's going to be our third AGS location. The very front of the store, over 1,000 or 2,000 square feet, display the best collectibles, the highest end wax and the cards ever made. It's not gonna be like your local card shop where you go and pick up a few singles of cheaper stuff. It's gonna be really, really high end. Everything we do is 10 years down the line. But this is something I wanna run 10 years from now. One season, $12,000 just for you. And I was thinking, why are we paying so much money? Why don't we just go overseas and work with a factory directly? That's exactly what we did. We spoke to over 10 different factories, made samples, got prices, and the next season that we used the uniforms and made them ourselves, we saved $8,000.